You're listening to the Light Novel Podcast. Visit us online at lightnovelpodcast.com. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Light Novel Podcast. In this episode, we're going to be talking about a whole whack ton of light novel licenses that we can look forward to for English release. We've got stuff from Yen On, stuff from Seven Seas, and stuff from J Novel Club. All of them kind of hovering around Anime Expo. So got a lot of the gang with me tonight, honestly. So I, of course, am Justus R. Stone, and with me I have Bio Gundam.
I live.
I've got Jean-Luc.
Welcome to Fantasy Night. Mostly.
Mostly. I have Kyle.
Hola.
I have Mirage.
Good morning.
And I have Terrence.
What's up?
All right. So we're going to do these in order of the number of releases. Yen On only announced 2 titles. Funny enough, I think this is the first time that Yen On has not done a major Anime Expo announcement that I can think of in years. Like they weren't even there, which is kind of weird. But anyway. All right. So first off, they licensed a title called Dragon and Ceremonies. This one's written by Ichime Tsukushi with illustrations by Enji. It is indeed a fantasy title, as Jean-Luc said. Many of these are fantasy titles. There's currently 4 volumes. It's currently ongoing. To fulfill his master's last request, half-human wand craftsman Ix must repair a staff belonging to a girl named Yui. There's just one problem. In order to mend the staff's core, Ix must obtain the heart of a dragon, the last of which supposedly died out 1,000 years ago. Running up against a strict time limit before his contract expires, Ix must somehow find a long-lost dragon and repair the wand, all by summer's end. So this one, I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of curious about the whole thing of what the hell is he going to do about the dragon being dead?
Yeah, is it like it reminds me of?
He's going to revive. No, listen. What's going to happen is he's going to become a necromancer, then revive a dragon from the dead, and then rip out its undead heart and use that to fix the stuff.
Oh, but cool, dude. That would be. You know what? It'd be great if it was like one of those like switch and bait kind of things. Like, oh, you're gonna have to find the dragon, and then you're right, he becomes a necromancer, and then in volume 2 the whole world goes evil because he used a undead heart, and the whole rest of the series is about him trying to fix the shit that he has caused. That would be very
that would be great.
Yeah, I've actually heard of this series before, or more specifically like the artist of the actual artist. Like, dude makes good shit.
Yeah, the art is really good.
But it kind of reminds me of the first Star Ocean, the video game. Like it, to find like the host of like virus or something. They have to travel back in time because the host died 1,000 years ago, so they have to go back in time. Get the host to create a vaccine for that virus that was invented.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. This one too. I know Alex from Tentai was interested in this one. I think they were actually going to go for this one, but obviously a bigger publisher got it.
Yeah, it kind of beat them to the punch.
But yeah, he had read it and he enjoyed it, so so it must be a good one.
Yeah, that's where I heard about it from. When he told me about that, he was releasing very sad Spanish noises.
Yeah,
a sorrowful Spanish guitar plays in the distance.
There you go. All right, and then the other title that Yen On released, licensed. They haven't released any of this shit yet. Is My Happy Marriage. This one is by Akumi Agitogi, with illustrations by Tsukiho Tsukioka. It's a romance fantasy with 3 volumes currently, and it's still ongoing. Born to a noble family, Mio is raised by her abusive stepmother and married off to Kyoka, a soldier so heartless his prior fiancés fled within 3 days into their engagement. With no home to
Ouch.
return to, Mio slowly starts to open her heart to her cold and pale husband-to-be, despite their rocky introduction. This might just be her chance at finding true love and happiness.
Run away, run away.
You know what it said?
Okay. What's the possibility of this guy becoming is some sort of vampire or some sort of demon?
Dude, I was totally gonna say that. Cold and pale. Dude.
Just
You-
see if he sparkles.
He sparkles. Oh God. If he sparkles, I quit. That's just we're done. We're totally done. Although I love the artwork on this one. The
It
cover
looks nice.
Oh, the cover looks beautiful.
It reminds me of like some like wushu, not wushu, like Janja Chinese web novels. You know, like they have the the celestial. It reminds me a lot about wuxia. That's the word,
yeah.
wuxia. Yeah, it reminds me a bit like a wuxia novel.
Yeah, the artwork looks a little bit like God help me, I can't remember the artist's name, but the artist that does the book girl covers. And there was that Yen On license that they've actually got coming out in another month or so, and it's the same artist and it's the same author. But yeah, I really like the art on this one. But yeah, I like Bio. That's so funny because yeah, I was the exact same. Well, like pale and cold, huh? How much you want to bet he's undead, or there's some kind of weird funkiness going on there? Yeah. All right. Well,
it's a shoujo. It's just, oh my God, he's so cold and aloof and distant. Oh my God, is my heart beating? Is this love?
Yeah, well, yeah, that could be, yeah. All right. And that's it for Yenon. Then we had Seven Seas, who announced a couple of titles over like a week. You know what? Maybe what we'll start is with the Until I Meet My Husband, just because, you know, it's not a light novel, but because it's a Japanese novel, I kind of thought we kind of would discuss that it
Close
might be
enough.
worth talking about. It's by Ryosuke Nanasaki. It is a biography, actually. So, from school crushes to awkward dating sites to finding a community, this collection of stories recounts the author's firsts as a young gay man searching for love. Dating isn't ever easy, but that goes doubly so for Ryusuke, whose journey is full of unrequited love and many speed bumps. But perseverance and time heals all wounds, even those of the heart. This moving memoir by gay activist Ryosuke Nanasuke follows his historic life story, was originally released in Japan in a novel of collected essays and in a beautiful manga adaptation, which, by the way, Seven Seas also licensed. So yeah, I thought this was kind of interesting.
Yeah, this reminds me of my lesbian experience with loneliness.
Exactly.
And then there's another one where like the boy is a bride or something like that. I actually read that too. It reminds me of that.
Yeah, well, this so yeah, I guess this guy is has actually been one of the main activists to try and, you know, get legalized gay marriage and you know, gain better rights for homosexual people in Japan. So it could be really interesting, even just from like a cultural standpoint, sort of seeing the difference in attitudes, or, you know, even just the similarities, even in sort of attitudes.
I read the other two books I mentioned before. I mean, I thought it was interesting. This might be an interesting read to pick up.
Yeah, I do. I think this will be. I do think it's kind of cool. So yeah, something a little bit different, obviously. But you know what? Like Seven Seas. Well, didn't Seven Seas also license My Lesbian Life, or was that someone else?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Was that Seven Seas? Okay. So yeah, that seems to be kind of like Seven Seas have been doing a lot more LGBTQ friendly type titles out of Japan. So not too shocking, but kind of cool. That's a little bit different. All right. Next one is, because they have to license all of this guy's books. I Am Blue, in Pain and Fragile. Man, just the title, I'm just like, damn. Like I feel all emo just reading the title. It's by Yoru Sumino, so be prepared for angsty teenage drama. Two young people in their first year of university, drawn to each other's passion, establish a secret society to pursue those ideals. But as time passes, the demands of a world that isn't kind to dreamers threaten to force them apart, filling the void between them with shattered hopes and the fallout of lies. A tender, tragic tale about the cruelty of youth by acclaimed author Yoru Sumido. So, yeah, like I said.
Yeah.
I
Personally,
mean,
I avoided all the titles of this author so far. I mean, they're supposed to be good, but I don't like to be depressed.
Yeah, I think I had that same dream again.
oh
And
yeah,
that one wasn't, I don't know if you checked that one out. That one wasn't too like it was at times, sad and depressing, but it had hope in it too. So like I
So-
think yeah,
okay,
like
all right.
I would say overall that one was like definitely it dealt with some dark stuff.
yeah,
But yeah, I would say it was more on the hopeful scale. So I don't think all of their stuff ends up being like someone's going to
Super.
die at the end or whatever. Yeah, not all of it is like super depressing. Some of it has a little bit of hope, and some of it obviously has a little bit of reality to it as
Yeah.
well,
I
Old
was
reality.
I was
but-
definitely interested in that. At night I become a monster. by
Yeah,
them.
that one seems very very different. Like
Yeah.
I they included a little preview of it at the end of I Had That Same Dream Again.
Oh,
but,
did they? Okay.
Yeah, it kind of caught me off guard because it was so different. And I was like listening along and I'm like, what happened to the story? It was just like tacked in there at the end.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, again, they've licensed. This will be what, the 4th or 5th, maybe even
Mhm.
6th of his books, because there's like I
Mhm.
Want to Eat Your Pancreas. I
Yeah.
Had That Same Dream Again. At Night I Become a Monster. This one, I know there's at least.
There's
another-
one more. I bought it. I forget the title.
It's like I Have a Secret. Is that the same
Yeah.
author? Okay. Yeah.
I think it's that one. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, tons of stuff by that person. So if you like their stuff, I mean, hey, 7C's got you covered. Now for something completely different. Well, okay, it's a fantasy title, so it's not that different, but still. It's called Survival in Another World with My Mistress. Kosuke suddenly wakes up alone in a vast forest that clearly isn't anywhere on Earth. Oh god, it's even an isekai. Never mind. Now he has to find some way to eat, drink, and survive. Luckily, Kosuke also has the power to craft using a special video game menu that allows him to harvest resources and build whatever he can imagine. Of course.
So
he
this
does.
is Minecraft.
Oh,
Yep.
fuck. Yep, here we go. However, every time he goes to sleep, he's attacked by one of the many non-human races of this world, all of whom despise humankind. Enter Sylphie, the beautiful dark elf who lays claim to Kosuke and vows to protect him. After all, she's taken him as her property.
Hippity hoppity, get the fuck off my property.
Well, okay. So just to frame this, to put this in perspective, 7C's licensed the manga for this one, but they licensed it under their Ghost Ship imprint, which is
Mhm.
their
Mhm.
naughty
Mhm.
manga imprint.
Yeah.
So
I heard
Well,
I
Yes.
heard
Okay, now I'm interested.
The
Yeah.
answer is
I
yes.
heard- yeah, are you familiar with it, Kyle?
Yes, I am.
Go share
the
your
way you said
wisdom.
that, the way you said that
Yeah.
was just hilarious. Okay.
Yeah, the questions you're thinking of right now, the answer is yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yay! Busy Wizards was so disappointing.
Oh man. Well, I think I had seen someone say on the Discord that unfortunately for you, Bio, it's not very graphic, but there is certainly chicka chicka bang bang in it that.
Well,
Yes.
well, when you said attacked at night, I was kind of okay.
Close enough.
It's going there.
Well, and see, like the second that you know it was licensed on our Ghost Ship, you're kind of like, now just what kind of attack is happening at nighttime? Like, oh my god.
But from like the title, I was like, oh, so maybe this is, not a harem. Maybe it's like a focused romance. But then I looked at, oh, this is the author of those other titles that turn into harem. Pretty sure this one does too. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, he's so yeah, he did like Reborn as a Space Mercenary.
yes.
I woke up piloting the strongest starship. Yeah, it's the same author. So yeah,
I gotta check out Space Mercenary.
Yeah, I'll pick that one up when it comes out in a few days. So.
Yeah, so yeah, it kind of gives you a little bit of a idea of what you're coming up against in that one. All right, so next off we have The Most Heretical Last Boss Queen, From Villainous to Savior. This one is by Tenichi with illustrations by Suzunosuke. Pride Royal Ivy. Her name is Pride, seriously? Okay. Is only 8 years old when she realizes that she's been reincarnated, destined to become the future Wicked Queen and final boss of an Otome game. She's got it all in this new life: razor-sharp wit, boss-tier powers, and influence over the kingdom as crown princess. Determined to sow despair and destruction across the land, Wait! What kind of a rotten future is that? Princess Pride decides to drop the maniacal villainous plan and protect the male love interests instead, cheating her way to saving everyone she can. Will this final boss end up earning the adoration of her kingdom? So once again, it's an Otome game, villainous, reincarnation, isekai. It's like Tier Moon Empire and My Next Life as a Villainous had a baby.
Yeah, but she's got a sword and a gun on the cover. Like, I'm kind of intrigued.
Okay,
like,
all
is
right,
she gonna
fair.
be fighting her way out? I don't know.
Like,
I'm currently reading Accomplishments of a Duke's Daughter, and this summary seems to fit exactly.
Well, I mean, I think most of these kind of fit. Like,
I mean, most of these probably come from Sosetsu. Like, there's a tag on Sosetsu, reincarnate an Otome game, and you haven't been a villainous.
I mean, there's the reason that these things are, but yes, I mean, she's armed with a sword and a gun, as Terrence said. So I mean, that's a little bit different than what we've seen in some of these. I saw a few people pretty excited about this one on Twitter, so I don't know. Maybe it's.
I'd say it's a bit more hardcore than Accomplishments of the Duke's Daughter.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, so that one is still kind of like good-natured in a way, but The Most Heretical Last Boss, one of her early acts that she does as a child is that she'll one of the main characters, she forces him into a slave contract and then forces him to kill his own mother.
What?
So that, yeah. Well,
holy
that's,
shit!
That's before the flashback. Yeah, that's before the flashback isekai. So you could see what kind of a person she was beforehand.
Whoa. Okay.
So before she was 8 years old.
Before she got her memory, though, right? She was like somebody. She was like the character in the story.
Oh.
Yeah. And then whoever isekais into her has got to deal with that.
That's a lot of baggage right there. Holy shit. Oh, okay. So, all right. So it could be a little darker in tone. Is that kind of where we're going with that? Because, damn.
Yeah, it's definitely darker than something like, Baccarina or whatnot.
Okay.
So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's
all right.
Yeah, it's gonna be well, she's trying to prevent all the dark stuff happening. So
yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't go that way again. Or maybe hopefully it does.
Well,
so, not like Duke's Daughter, because that is villainous isekai on easy mode.
Yeah.
Right? Oh my god. Well, yeah, like it's one thing to reincarnate into a villainous who hasn't done anything bad yet, but you're reincarnated into a villainous who's already like helped people commit murder and stuff. Like, damn. Oof. Okay. All right.
She was molded by evil, raised by it.
Right? Oh my god. All right. That would mean that he'd also still be in a slave contract. This could get messy. Wow. Okay. All right. So the other title, I guess this is the last one 7C's licensed, is The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbye. This is written by Mei Hachimoku with illustrations by Kuka. Tono Kaoru heard a rumor. The laws of space and time mean nothing to the Urashima Tunnel. If you find it, walk through and you'll find your heart's desire on the other side, in exchange for years of your own life. On the night, Kaoru just so happens to find himself standing in front of a tunnel that looks suspiciously like the one the rumor describes. He finds himself thinking of Karen, the sister he lost in an accident 5 years ago. To Kaoru's surprise, he's been followed by the new transfer student, Anzu Hanaki, who promises to help him experiment with the mysterious tunnel. But what does she want from Kaoru in exchange? And what will he have left to give after the tunnel is done with him? This one actually sounds very cool. I have to admit, I think this is, of all the licenses that got announced, this is the one that I am most kind of curious and interested in checking out. Just because
So is this a one shot?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, I don't.
Oh, did it
No,
get
I
a
think
sequel?
it's two. I think there's 2 volumes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's.
I found only 1 volume, and it's from 2019. So
If it
I
got a
wasn't-
sequel, if it got a sequel, I think it might be under like you know how sometimes they'll do like a different title. If it has a sequel, I think that's the case. But yeah, I think you can read it as a one shot, and then obviously they had the other one that was a one shot too. So
Yeah.
I'm just glad to get some of these shorter titles too.
Well, yeah, I mean
Low
that doesn't
commitment.
hurt. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
again, like some of these ones that are only 1 or 2 volumes, the premise is usually something a bit different than what we get in your typical ongoing series, right? Because they don't fall into those same tropes to try and extend the series out even longer. Like,
Well, it's basically they don't really need to go beyond. Like if this was an anime, this would be like a few episodes anime or like 6-episode OVA. Like
Yeah.
there's the concept, here are the characters, you move on. Like there's no reason to continue the story. Anything like this is the story.
Well,
This
yeah,
is the
right.
screenshot of these characters' lives.
I'd say
Mhm.
more like a movie.
well, yeah, I mean, like whatever. Like, I mean, but you're right though. It is kind of that. It's comparable in that it has this one big idea, and once it's done with that idea, game is over. Like we're done, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, I think that's kind of cool. I'm kind of into that. But yeah, I guess because so many of these ones in here were either like a tome, really straight ahead fantasy, power fantasy, isekai. This one I was like, oh my god, it's a book that's not not an overtly fantasy or isekai. Like, okay.
Mhm.
So yeah, so that one plus that one was we mentioned before, was on Kono Light Novel Gasugoi, the most recent one. And I actually remember it because there wasn't anything available English wise about it at the time, so I had to use machine translation. And even the lousy machine translation, I was like, this sounds kind of cool. So alrighty, then we get into J Novel Club's licenses here,
Yeah.
talking about power fantasy isekai.
Yeah. Are we doing the pulp one first?
Oh
Or
yeah,
at the,
well,
or at the end?
well, we can talk about let's just cover the pulp one right now, because so we weren't going to go too deep on this one because it truly is not a light novel, nor is it even a Japanese one. Oh, okay, Bio's got to go. Bye, Bio.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Peace.
Later. Bio dropped in. We didn't even expect he was going to be here tonight, so you got Bio bonus tonight. Okay, so yeah, so the J Novel Club, as part of their announcements, added another one to their J Novel Pulp line, which again, it's not a light novel, it's not Japanese, but we did do like a whole episode where we interviewed them about pulp, so I guess it makes sense that we should mention it. That is Madrax, Tales from a Dark Future. When a comet struck Earth, Matthew Drax found himself sent 500 years into the future, only to find civilization in ruins. In a world filled with barbarians, hostile mutants, and lost technology, Drax and company cross the globe in search of adventure. having recently saved the world by restoring the moon from its falling orbit. An accident in proceedings causes pockets of parallel worlds to dot the globe. What new dangers await Matt and his traveling companion, the telepathic warrior queen Arula, as they cross these strange gaps in time and space?
Wow, it's
Man,
almost
this
a
sounds
Gundam.
totally 80s.
80s, yes.
It's almost a Gundam synopsis with the moon drop.
Oh my god.
The
Yeah,
telepathic.
the plot could easily be a Japanese light novel.
It
That's
could.
sure, yeah.
Let's be honest. It could.
And we have a serious drought of science fiction titles in the light novel sector, so that alone could make it interesting.
Well, that's fair. That is fair. Yes.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I'm just like, just reading this.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god, it's like a kitchen sink of sci-fi. Like, I'm thrown
but
to the future.
there's a reason for that, because I talked with Jonathan about it, and he said they start with the series around volume 500.
Oh shit.
Oh.
Okay. Oh.
Because the early volumes have some authors that are opposed to getting an ebook license, so
Really?
they really can't get licensing for the early volumes.
Oh.
So they decided to start with volume 500 because it's the start of a completely new cycle.
Oh.
Apparently the one where they explore these pockets of parallel worlds that have appeared around the world.
Also,
And Jonathan said that the reason they decided to start there was because as the protagonist is himself exploring completely new settings, it might be easier for new readers to
Jump
get
on
into
board.
it there. Yeah.
Okay, I get
like,
you.
is it a coincidence that it's 500 years in the future, like in 500 volume later?
No. He gets sent 500 years into the future in volume 1, apparently.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
And yesterday there was so it seems to have a fairly active German fandom, and there was a online hangout where Jonathan was there as an interviewee along with the translator for the series. And it was a pretty nice. He invited me to come, and it was a pretty nice gathering, also including some of the German authors and one guy from the German publisher, who apparently the original series is right now at volume 564. So you're pretty close to the origin, to where the story is in the original when you jump in there.
Weird. Okay, well, who knows? I mean, maybe if J-Novel does a good enough job, they'll let them backtrack and put out some of the earlier stuff. Who knows? Okay, well, yeah, that sounds like, yeah, okay. That makes that synopsis make a lot more sense, knowing that they're jumping in 500.
Yeah, he said for those who buy the ebook and not just the prepub, there will be a 50-page summary of everything that happened before.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh,
I feel sorry for the person
Good
who has
luck
to
writing that.
Right? I was going to say that I feel bad for the person who has to summarize 500 books in 10 pages. Like,
apparently that was also included in the volume 500 of the German release. So
they just have to translate it. So it was actually okay. So the publisher themselves did it. Okay.
Yeah, apparently they did the same thing for people who might be interested to jump into the German version.
Okay, I get it.
At that time.
Interesting. Interesting. Alrighty. Well then, okay, well, getting to the light novel stuff, we'll start off with A Late Start Tamers, Laid Back Life. This one's by Yu Tanaka with illustrations by Nardak. It's a VR MMO adventure, so basically a fantasy, but slightly-ish sci-fi. The Law of Justice Online, also known as LJO, is the hottest new VR MMORPG of the season, and office worker Yuta Sasaki is one of the lucky few granted access to the official launch. After some careful research, Yuta is chomping at the bit to start his virtual life as a tamer, a class that harnesses the powers of wild monsters. Luckily, upon building his character, Yuta manages to land not only his chosen class, but a heap of bonuses to boot. He soon finds, however, that his abilities are not all they're cracked up to be, and that the talents of the rare first monster he is granted lie not in combat, but gardening. Already well behind the other adventurers and facing a long and slow progression path ahead of him, Yuta is left with two choices: start over from scratch or make the best of what he has been given. For Yuta, the choice is obvious. When life gives you manure, start up a farm.
Yeah. I read the first 3 chapters of this, and so far it is pretty slow, if not to say boring.
It's slow life, remember?
I probably have read a lot worse, but this one is mostly boring. There are a few things that don't make any sense, like the main character says at the beginning that oh, this is a new game that is not pay to win. All you can spend money on is cosmetic, and then during character creation he spends a couple of $100 on more points to spend on stats.
Yes, but see, that's not pay to win. That's optional.
Yeah. And then he gets his ass handed to him by the beginner monsters, which is a bad game design choice in any game.
Fair.
You shouldn't be able to create characters that cannot defeat one of the first monsters that you can encounter. Yeah.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay. So it's a chillin'. What are we thinking?
Yeah.
Like, are the monsters all like cute girls and he's going to have a harem? Is that what that's all about?
The first monster he has is a gnome.
Okay.
A garden gnome. So,
of course it's a garden gnome. Of course.
Yeah, gardening.
Yeah.
And it doesn't talk, it just grunts. But apparently, at least one of the monsters, there's a short scene at the beginning. At least one of the monsters is a fairy.
Okay.
I don't remember all of them. He apparently has 5 or 6 of them at the end.
And what's really funny about this is that this is actually the same author as Reincarnated as a Sword.
Huh.
Which starts off with him slicing and dicing as many things as possible, and is one of the only light novels I've read that involved slavery, where he literally cuts the head in half of the slave trader. Like it's kind of funny to hear that it's slow. Like
I kind of want to check it out. I'll probably wait a little later. You know, hopefully it picks up a little bit, but like, I don't know. There are a lot of like farming life series. Yes. I know like there's some that we've gotten that are kind of quasi farming life things stateside, but like, yeah, there's a lot still in Japan. So I hope it turns out better in the end. But yeah.
It has 7 volumes in Japan, and I've seen it a few times on the top 10 list.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, you're right. Actually, I covered it in the top 10 not too long ago. Yeah, I saw it in there. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder
I'm not sure if it was too... I think it was a while ago. I'm not sure since you've taken up. I don't think I've seen it. But yeah, so maybe it gets better. I think I'll give it at least until the end of volume 1, but if it doesn't pick up by then, I probably drop it.
Yeah.
I wonder if all those farming title is like a master plan to get people interested in the countryside.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Got to get those people back out to the country. Absolutely. All right, next one we have Chillin' in Another World with level 2 super cheat powers.
Yay!
Oh, this is
okay. This is one that's okay. Miya Kinojo is the author. Katagiri is the illustrator. It's the magical kingdom of Clyrode summons hundreds of heroes from other worlds every year to fight in their war against the Dark One and his army of powerful demons. Banaza is one of those heroes summoned from the royal capital Paluma, but something's not right. Banaza is only an average merchant. He has no magic, no fighting ability, and his stats are abysmal. Worse, a mishap leaves him unable to return home. Rejected as a hero and stranded in another world, abandoned to the far reaches of the kingdom by a cruel king who just wants him gone, Banaza's fate looks pretty bleak. But what will happen once the failed hero candidate finds himself with super cheat powers once he hits level 2? Of course, he's just got to get to level 2 and he's become super cheat.
Yeah, he literally gets attacked by a slime, kills him by accident, and all his stats skyrocket to infinity.
Oh God!
They do.
The thing I really like about this one, it's like it's not your typical overpowered character. It's a bit like One Punch Man. Like the concept is that his power is infinity. So in your mind, nothing beats infinity. So everything works around that. Like the fact that he's overpowered is merely like it doesn't really matter to the main character. He just wants to continue living his life as a merchant. But he's kind of thrown in all this political thing that he does not want to be part of. And because he's so powerful, he's kind of just influencing everything around him, whether he likes it or not.
So he really has overlord levels of OPness.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The second thing he does after getting to level 2 is trying to purify the miasma in the forest he's in, and accidentally purifying the entire forest and the army of undead that has been layering within, or of demons that has been layering within, and leveling up to level 350 in the process.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Oh, and the other thing, just to kind of mention, like, he doesn't realize, like, what he's doing. Like, he doesn't realize what's going on. Like, he thinks when he used the miasma spell, he's like, nothing happened. Like, the forest looked the same to him. So he's like, oh, I guess it really didn't work. And then he looked at his stats and he saw how crazy it got, you know, the level that it got so crazy. And he's like, this thing must be broken.
Yeah, but the thing
so he just goes on.
Yeah, he does not understand the infinity symbol. So at first, he just thinks that he's ordinary, but there's everything he does is kind of a fluke. But it's way later on that he learns that his power is just infinity and broken.
Oh, man.
One thing that should be mentioned is that he's not from Japan. He's from some other fantasy world.
Yeah. That's weird. I just think that's weird. Like, so he knows about like the setup in his world. There were magicians and witches and stuff, and I think it's a similar setup here. And even things like the magic bag in his world, it works the same over here. Like certain things that exist in his world exist here as well. It was just definitely a weird setup. And also in his world, there were demi-humans that existed there. They were slaves in his world. In this world, he gets to, you know, go to areas where demi-humans and humans live like together in harmony somewhat. But of course, there's also human territories where I think demi-humans aren't allowed. But like, I don't know, it's a weird setup where he's coming from a world that already has magic and demi-humans to another world. Like, it's weird that they did that.
Yeah, and the interesting thing is that it's kind of Arifuleta done right, in the sense that when we talked about Arifuleta, I think a while ago, a lot of you guys were mentioning that, what was the vampire girl's name again?
Oh, yeah. Oh, God, why can't I think of it all of a sudden?
Yeah,
his main... Oh, God. Okay,
like
they're going to revoke our light novel license.
Yeah, the fact that after, like, Volume 1, like she kind of just accept that there are other girls going after like her love interest. But in this one, like Lisa, like there's a bunch of other girl around, but like don't touch him. Like he's mine.
Okay, so there's just one girl. Okay.
There is one girl, and that one girl is already problem enough.
Yeah.
Part 3 reads like horny teenager's wet dream.
Oh, God.
Basically, he runs across this demon, high-level demon girl, werewolf, and defeats her. And then she's like, "Okay, you've defeated me. Let me become your servant for life." And then he suggests that they travel together, pretending to be a couple. And then she's like, "Okay, let's marry and be together." And then he says, "Okay, let's marry," and then they fuck. And apparently, he has all the skills in the game that includes all the lovemaking techniques. And
oh no!
And that was the part where I dropped.
Yeah, but like it's a kind of slow life. Funny story with a kind of like fantasy, like world building around.
All right. Well, I guess we can move on from that.
This is the first of the JNC titles that I'm already out of.
Well, I'm gonna continue on your stead.
Oh,
me too.
Okay. All right. Well, fair enough. Next up. Dragon Daddy Diaries. A girl grows to greatness. Oh my God. If this wasn't by the author of Sexiled and A Lily Blooms in Another World, I'd be really worried. Daddy! The dragon blinked as the wee little human called out to him. Him? Her daddy? Powerful enough to have been venerated by humankind. Yet warm-hearted and even a tad ditzy. The dragon soon finds himself raising and doting on the precocious Olivia, as if she really were his daughter in this touching tale. The toddler may be impossibly cute now, but just you wait. She's a curious child, and she's growing up real fast. You can bet that one day, she'll be the strongest human there is. But first, how will he handle little Olivia receiving an acceptance letter to a human school?
Yeah. This one is really fun to read. It starts out with someone dropping a little girl at his doorstep, and he decides to raise her because he tries to bring her back to the village, but realizes that her real father would not be a good influence on her. And it's really fun, fun read. There are two other characters that have been introduced since. That's the Dark Queen, who lost to a hero a couple hundred years ago, but the dragon knows her from her earlier days, and he decides to drop by her castle because he doesn't think that living in his cave would be good for the daughter. Asks if he can live with them in the castle. And she's since become a shut-in in her tower, so she's also a real fun character. With her single servant who's still with her after she lost to the hero, and the daughter. You can already see that she is going to become really, really strong.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously interested in this one because of the author and to see, where they go with it. It does look more like fluffy, like just artwork-wise and everything. So it stays, you think it's going to stay fluffy. I don't know. I'm curious, like, it does look like they bring in a lot of other characters too. Like you already said, there's a few they've already set up so far. So I'm curious where they're going to go with, like, her friendships and things like that. And, obviously, since it is from that author who is known for, like, Yuri works, I am curious if there's going to be some characters with some Yuri relationships.
I don't know. I mean,
not the main girl, But...
Yeah. Well, I mean, they also, like, a lot of their stuff is just one shots or just two volumes. Like this has had 3 volumes in Japan, and
Mhm.
I don't know how much more there is to it. Like, I don't know.
Hmm.
All right. Next up we have Hell Mode. The hardcore gamer dominates in another world with garbage balancing. Oh my god. All right. The level up, even while offline, that's not a game on easy mode. That's just an AFK game. The online game Yamada Kenichi had been playing religiously is shutting down its servers, leaving him with a void in his heart. He looks for a new game to fill it, but everything he finds is way too easy. The kind of game he likes, the kind punishing enough to make players want to spend thousands of hours on it, just isn't around anymore. What's this? You are invited to a game that will never end? Kenichi stumbles upon an untitled game, one promising incomparable challenge with unprecedented potential. Without hesitation, he selects the Hell Mode difficulty. Lo and behold, he finds himself reincarnated in another world as a serf. Now called Alan, he sets out to unlock the secrets of his mystery-laden summoner class. Without the convenience of walkthroughs, game guides, or online forums, he must grope his way to the top of his new world. So, yeah.
Yeah.
What do they mean by grope his way to the top?
I don't think it's meant this way in this case.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, let's hope not. Because the artwork looks decidedly like childlike characters on the cover.
Yes. No. Okay. At this point, after 3 or 4 parts, he's still 6 years old. Like I always confuse parts of the story with the next one on the list. Yeah, he's really as a baby, he's already starting to grind experience because of he's in hell mode. Every skill takes 100 times as much experience to raise.
Oh god.
Which I'm not sure how they are ever going to make him OP, because every other character should really have a lot easier time getting strong than he, even if with his head start of already training his summoning skill as a baby by summoning grasshoppers and mice.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Is right.
Yeah, this is like the only one, like most of the ones that we've covered so far, and even the one we're going to cover soon, like most of them are like slow life, or like I want to chill out, or I'm being raised. Like, and maybe this one has that a little too, but this sounds like it's going to be more of an intense adventure. Is that
maybe
like it's so I'm more interested in like those slower build ones than this, although it sounds like he's on hard mode, so at least, you know, maybe it'll take him a while.
It'll take him a while to get
out.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of, you know, similar type books, min-maxing my TRPG build in another world with like it looks like a spider girl on the cover. I do not like I don't like spider girls. I don't like spiders. Commissioned in death to save a world in peril, a tabletop RPG fanatic is reborn as a humble farm boy with the rule book for the universe at his fingertips. Yeah, he's just humble, but he's got young Eric's quest for an invincible character build will require more than his decades as a number-crunching munchkin, though. Even with power-leveled skills, feudal life is no cakewalk, especially when you keep drawing more attention than you can handle. Can Eric adapt to his strange new world before his worst impulses take the campaign of a lifetime completely off the rails? Let the dice fall where they may. It's by Schuld with illustrations by Lansane, with 4 volumes currently in Japan.
Yeah. So here also the text is a bit misleading, probably, because his worst impulses seems to refer to impulse buying new skills that he might need, that he might not even need, because he, for example, when he plays hide and seek with his friends, he just gets the suppress presence and walk silently skills. And afterwards he berates himself for wasting his experience points on such frivolous purchases. So far it's okay. It's an okay read. Like I said, I always mix up parts of this with the other one because in both kinds they are reincarnated as a baby in a small town as a farmer's son. In the one book he has a small sister, in the other book he has 4 older brothers. So it's they are both pretty similar, and I hope they diverge a bit by the time it goes a bit ahead. The Spider Girl is one of the other girls in the town who's 2 years his senior. Yeah, so far she's not too bad.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I read a little bit of this one too, and like, so one thing to note, and I saw some chatter on the forum about this too. Every section, or most of the sections of the story, like every chapter heading, starts with like an explanation of some kind of like rule or like thing with like TTRPGs. And I saw some people that are well versed in TTRPGs saying that it felt a little not like mansplaining. What's the other word for that? But like it felt like they were being condescending. That was the word they were using. I didn't feel that way. I mean, but I don't know anything about TTRPGs, so I appreciated having the character sheet kind of talked about first, and then him like pulling up his humongous character sheet that has all these statistics he can put points into.
Okay.
And his whole min-maxing thing, which I don't know if I'm understanding it fully, but basically he can like pull weeds from the garden. It helps him in terms of like dexterity, but he also earns like experience that he can then put into, say, swords mastery. Like he doesn't have to put it into, I'm pulling weeds and that's the only experience.
Okay,
I get.
that's definitely min-maxing.
Yeah.
So basically, he's searching for ways to like exploit the systems of the world.
Yeah.
If I'm hearing that correctly.
Okay.
Yeah. He even leaves his skills on like always. So even like while he's sleeping or while he's doing other stuff, his skills are like always on and active. So he's always gaining experience, and he's got a skill that's like a child prodigy skill. So it's basically an experience boost. But the thing that's interesting, it feels like the other characters in this story, they're operating as if it's a real world, like, and it is, it's a real world, but they're operating as if it's like the normal laws of a world. Like they just think that he's a very gifted child. They don't know anything about like that kind of system. Like that system that he's got sounds like it's very unique to him, and obviously a skill from the gods. Like I don't think any of the other characters have that.
He can't really use his experience on every skill. Some of the skills have to be unlocked by some live events. So just at the end of part 3, he takes part in a training session for the town militia, and this unlocks his swordsmanship skill tree. So it's not completely broken.
So, Terence, you said that like some people find it condescending in what way?
Just in an over-explained way. They feel like the author is explaining too much and being too condescending at the beginning of chapter sections about the rules. But as someone that doesn't know them at all, like I appreciate it. And even if I I was just giving you what I know so far, like it'll be something good to go back to and be like, okay, yeah, this is how those rules are. But for people that I guess are well versed in it, they can see it that way. And I guess for people that don't care about TTRPG, they may not like it as well. But I feel like most of the people that are going to read this at least have some kind of passing interest in that kind of thing.
I think it really depends on every person, because like I'm well versed in TTRPG, and I wouldn't find that like deterring or
Yeah.
to read explanation about a system that I never played before because
Yeah.
of what I
it's
understand.
general.
something he
It's
taught us.
general stuff. It's general
Yeah.
stuff. So what is a critical hit? What is a fumble? And it's also explained in general terms. So depending on which game you play, a critical hit can be a snake eyes on a 2d6 or one at on a d20 or 1 to 5 on d100 or something like that. So I've been playing TTRPGs for decades and I don't feel talked down to. In fact, there have been one or two terms that I have been forced to Google because I've never heard of the Henderson scale before. And if you want to spend a few hours of very funny reading, then Google this on the on 1D4chan.
Oh, jeez.
I never heard of it either.
It's the Henderson scale of plot derailment.
Oh, Lord, okay.
And like I said, even for me, there was stuff that I'd never heard of before. So I definitely don't feel talked down to.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, the first two that they introduce are like dice rolls and like the character sheet, which are basic. But yeah, it sounds like it gets more advanced.
Yeah, that wasn't even in the chapter intros. That was something that was somewhere in the text when he talks about his gaming experience. And yes, if you are familiar with TTRPGs, you will get a lot more out of this series than if you are not.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. All right. So next up we have My Daughter Left the Nest and Returned, an S-rank adventurer.
Yay!
Okay, well, we got the other one that John Luke's looking for. This is by Moji Kakiya. I just butchered that. With illustrations by Toit. 10 volumes currently in Japan. The life of an adventurer isn't always a glamorous one. Belgrieve finds this out the hard way when a deadly encounter robs him of his leg and the ability to pursue his dreams not long after setting off for fame and fortune. But fate isn't finished with this retired adventurer. While gathering herbs in the wilderness, he discovers an abandoned baby girl and names her Angeline after deciding to raise her as his own. Angeline grows up to become a top-tier adventurer in her own right, yet after venturing out into the world and making a name for herself, fame, fortune, and power hold no allure for the accomplished S-rank adventurer. Her heartfelt wish is for nothing more than to see her father again.
Yeah. So first of all, this one seems to be complete. I've looked up volume 10 and looked up volume 10, and from what the comments are saying on Amazon JP, this seems to be the final volume.
Okay.
It's definitely complete.
Oh,
yep.
okay. All right. So
it should be noted. Well, I don't think this is really a spoiler to say that something's not going to happen. Is that okay to say something's not going to happen?
Well, this was the hint that J Novel Club put out, so it's not really a spoiler because it bloody said right from the get-go.
So when this hint came out, I guessed this immediately. This was my guess because this won't go there, and I immediately thought of this because I remembered on the forums, on the JNC forums, I actually posted about this because I saw, basically, oh, this doesn't go there, from looking at the series. That was like the one thing I knew about this one. So I was like, oh, yep, this doesn't go there.
I saw the end, but I never thought of this series while reading that.
Which hint?
It was the one that it doesn't go there. In other words, the daughter doesn't end up boning her dad like many other...
I think the first hint was like a farewell smart home, and I think it's the smart home that just derailed me from thinking about this one.
Yeah, I saw some speculation on that on the Discord, and that on JNC's Discord, and that's basically they worked out that hint that it was leaving the nest, and I was like, well, she leaves to go to the capital, so maybe.
Yeah, so that's one thing that I was a bit anxious about after reading the first 2 or 3 parts, because when the daughter leaves home at around 14, 15, and then when she returns, or tries to return at this point, she's around 17, 18, and the first thing that's on her mind when she wants to come home. Oh, I want to sleep in Daddy's bed again.
Yeah, but
that was
yeah,
pretty
she's kind of
cringy at this point. I'm not
definitely. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's very like, I don't know, this is just like unrealistic. Like I can understand you being a little like doting or whatever on your father, but to this extent,
yeah, but I think it's
it
more
definitely
cultural.
feels more. Okay, that could be too.
Yeah,
that could be too. Maybe it's more.
If I remember correctly, I think that like the parent, both mother and father, I think they take their bath with their children like until pretty late, and like the whole family dynamics is a lot different than in Western countries. So I'm not sure if it's still the same as of today, or if it's just something that dates back to the 80s or something.
Yeah, but she's definitely supposed to be overly doting, because like her friends are like, this is a weird side of her. Like when she's like super forceful, I want to get back to see my father, when they're ready to like send her on another quest, and she begrudgingly, does it. But it's not like fully begrudgingly. Like she does want to save people, but it's still like, you're gonna keep me from going to see my father. Like makes the guild master cower.
Okay,
but yeah, I don't know.
The funny thing is that like what I really like about this one, it's mainly the like character psyche, if I can say, like the fact that like the daughter is over idolizing her father. Like for her, like her father is so much out there, so much overpower than her. But the thing is, she haven't seen her father for like 5 years or something. So like she's become super strong, but she think her father is way over her still. And her father on his end, like when he got his leg chopped off, like he was just starting as an adventurer. He was nothing special. So he think that he's still nothing special. But in the end, like he did learn a lot of things by protecting the village in the like border town. So he's maybe not an S rank level, but definitely maybe A rankish.
He's not a weakling, but
yeah, but in his head, he's D rank still, and she put him in SSS tier.
Yeah, so the father, he goes to this other, the village, and then he stays there, and at first, like, he's having to like till the fields and everything, and like they don't really respect him because, I guess, I don't know, they kind of set it up at the beginning that adventurers, especially low class adventurers, they just do, meager, quests and stuff, like gathering quests and things like that. So like they don't think anything of him. And then over the years, they see, how great a teacher he is. And so they start to respect him a bit more. But yeah, at first, he thinks, he's kind of low. And even at the end, he's still picking the fields. And they're like, you don't have to do that. Like, we respect you for what you can teach our, sons and daughters. But yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see where they go with this. Like, I think the father and daughter are going to travel together at some point. But I don't know when that's going to happen. Right now, obviously, there's a little bit of a gag comedy thing going on where the daughter wants to go home and then something forces her to stay on the road or stay, in the Adventurers Guild.
Eventually,
that was 3 times now.
Yeah.
That happened 3 times now. It's getting a bit old. I hope next chapter is...
I think it's the first few chapter that it's gonna do that. After that, it's gonna... I think it's just to set up like the fact that she's strong. She just... Like the guild rely on her mostly than any other adventurer. And I think it's just a setup thing because eventually she'll get back home and they'll be forced to go on an adventure somewhere and like stuff will happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
One thing I just noticed is that the illustrator, Toei 8, is the same one who made the cover and artwork for the Japanese version of Perry Roden. So that's completely different.
That's
completely
interesting.
different
All right.
series.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now that you're saying, yeah, it does look like okay.
All right, and then we've got two J-Novel Heart titles that end us out. First off, we have Dahlia in Bloom, Crafting a Fresh Start with Magical Tools. This is by Hisaya Amagishi with illustrations by Kei. There's 6 volumes in Japan. After dying of overwork in Japan, Dahlia is reborn into a world filled with magic. Raised by a master of magical tool making, she develops a passion for the craft and becomes engaged to her father's apprentice. Before her father can see her wed, however, he suddenly passes away. As if this weren't enough, on the day before their wedding, her fiancé announces that he's in love, but not with her. Dahlia finally realizes she needs to live for herself. She vows to be her own woman from now on and devote herself to her craft, even if it's not quite the quiet life she was hoping for. From a chance encounter with a knight to starting her own company, there are challenges aplenty on the horizon. But this young craftswoman is no longer a shrinking violet. She's Dahlia, and she's ready to bloom.
Yeah. Did you read any of this one, Mirage?
Yeah, I did. The first 2 chapters are mostly setting up how scummy her fiancé is. Not really. He's not evil in this sense, but he's just
a dick.
You can't really say that either.
Douchebag?
He is insensitive, completely insensitive. So he is in love with another girl, and he's willing to do everything to make the breakup bearable for her. So I'm paying out my part of the house we built together, and I'm paying this lot of compensation and so on. He's just being completely insensitive to her feelings. By the way, can you give me the bracelet back, because I need one for my new fiancé, and I can't. We want to marry soon, and I can't. Don't have the time to have a new one made. Such stuff.
Wow.
And some stuff like that happens a few times when she comes to their home on the evening of their breakup to clear out her furniture. One of her wardrobes is already filled with the stuff from his new girlfriend.
Oh, jeez. Okay, nice. All right. Well, I don't blame her for saying I'm going to just do my own thing from here on out.
Yeah.
All right.
So she immediately, in chapter 3, she immediately meets the knight, who is probably going to become the new love interest.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, he's the moody-looking dude in the back.
Yeah, and the Isekai part is mostly that she's crafting magical tools, and mostly she crafts stuff she knows from Japan, like she's recreated a hairdryer by magical means and crafted raincoats and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's just not really necessary for the story, but so flavor type.
All right.
It has to be an isekai to sell.
Well, I mean, I guess it's just using that character as that's a touchstone, like an insert for the audience. But I think too, like, you're probably right. It's to try and explain how a person who lives in a completely different world would come up with ideas like having a hair dryer or whatever, right? Like, they don't have to. Yeah. Alrighty. Then the last.
This one was. I think we didn't mention that it was on Konolite Novel Gasugoi.
Oh yes, that's correct.
2 years ago, I think, or last year.
I think the last year. Yeah. Yep, that's right. Yep. And it's been in the top 10 best-selling list as well in the past. So, yeah. So, all right. So the last one, the reincarnated princess spends another day skipping story routes. This one is by Bisu with illustrations by Yukiko. 6 volumes in Japan. After an accident, a modern careerist is reborn as Princess Rosemary von Velfalt. She soon realizes that her new life is identical to that of a rival character in an otome game that she'd once played to 100% completion. Luxury and magic abound in the kingdom of Neville, alongside a collection of attractive men. However, beneath the suitors' dazzling faces lie awful personalities, masochists, necrophiles, okay, and perverts. Hello, you. I love how they are separating necrophiles and perverts. Oh my. But it's not all bad news. The side characters are perfect, and Rosemary has fallen for the captain of the Royal Guard. Since the game offers no true route to happiness, Rosemary decides to forge her own path. To avoid marriage with the suitors, she'll have to skip their story routes and fix their deviance. She'll navigate palace and marriage politics, kidnappings, and the threat of war, all while contending with a world that's drifting further from the game she remembers. 100% game completion isn't all it's cracked up to be sometimes. Sometimes 0% is the route to a dream life.
Yeah. This one so far feels like what would Baccarina be like if Baccarina was actually competent?
Wow.
Okay. Well, fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so for one thing is one of the narcissists who was her fiancé in the original storyline of the game. He's a complete narcissist, and she remembers that he became that like that because his mother died very early, and he looked similar to his mother, so he always watched himself in a mirror to be reminded of his mother.
Oh.
So she tries to make his mother more healthy, so she survives.
Okay.
And so far, it seems she has succeeded with that. So this one guy seems to have been reformed already.
Reformed. Well, dude, I mean, come on, a necrophile? Like, that dude needs some fix.
Yeah.
That guy.
That guy is not in the story yet, so I have no idea about him.
He needs some
so
Jesus.
Far,
that guy does.
There are three of those characters mentioned. This one guy who was a narcissist. Then one guy, her little brother, who is Syscon in the game. I'm still not sure if she has managed to fix that. And her personal guard, who is the masochist.
Oh no.
And
yeah.
I'm not really sure if the side characters are so perfect either. So there's also her big brother, the Crown Prince, who's not a love interest in the game.
Good, because that's gross.
And that the game, she's not the protagonist in the game, so love interest for the protagonist of the game, who has also not appeared in the story yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, there's 6 volumes. Like, I should hope there's lots to still go. Like,
yeah. So I'm not really sure if even if that guard captain is really that so perfect as she makes him out to be. There are some scenes that can be interpreted in different ways. Most of all, that he's about 20 years older than her.
oh,
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
Well, at least she's not a villainess.
Well, yeah. Well, I guess that's.
She is in the a rival.
Yeah,
character,
she's the rival
So
character.
she's,
Yeah.
yeah, not really a villainess, but yeah,
But not the hero.
not really a friend of the hero either. If I don't remember, maybe it's going to be expanded on later.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I know this came up with like one other title you were talking about before, Justice. Like Otome games, like there are some that go like really dark with like certain endings or certain paths.
Yeah.
So like, unfortunately, I don't think like reading those things, those crazy things are unfortunately probably pretty common in some of these Otome
Well,
games.
it's true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Well, yeah, that was Cross Infinite World was talking about how like there's this whole genre of Otome game which is like dark. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like with nothing but bad
so-
ends and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, not really sure how dark this one is really going to get. So far,
It's okay.
it's not too bad. Also,
well, the cover art looks really cute. Like it doesn't look like it should
Mhm.
be all that, dark.
I mean, if you just think about Evil Alice, that one was also marketed as being totally dark, and in the end, it really wasn't. Even if there was a mass murderer they were looking for.
All right. Well, I mean, okay. Well, that's I don't know. I'm tempted to check that one out, I have to say.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that's all of the most recent licensing announcements from Yenon, Seven Seas, and J Novel Club. Of course, we're into the summer now, where it seems like the next couple months are where we get most of our licenses announced. So who knows? We'll probably have more to talk about in our next episode. In the meantime, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me in another episode, and I guess we'll talk to you soon. And to you listeners, thanks for listening. Until the next episode, bye-bye for now. For show notes and related links, visit lightnovelpodcast.com.